Hey guys, welcome to Admittedly. Admittedly is a podcast that empowers modern day educators. Today we have Kimberly. Kimberly's an amazing person I recently met, and basically she's going to explain to us how you shouldn't really have any excuses when becoming a course instructor online. This is essentially a motivational video for people who want to become course instructors, and Kimberly's insight and life experience is going to help you a lot. So Kimberly, would you like to introduce yourself? Tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Max, for having me on your podcast. I'm really excited to be here, and I'm really chuffed that you asked me to join you. My name's Kim. I'm from the UK, if you can't tell by my accent. And I started on Udemy a good few years ago now. I was excuse my cat in the background. I was in the Royal Air Force, so I was military. I was an air traffic controller. I was there for 11 years. I was working really hard, and I started doing the side hustle. I started working in the side, and I discovered Udemy all along the way. And I was making money, and I was making money not just from Udemy, but other stuff. And I left the Royal Air Force. I left my job because I knew I could make enough money on my own business. And unfortunately, at that point, I kind of both had children and got cancer. I first had stage 1 cancer, which was very manageable, and then it kind of got upgraded to stage 4 cancer. So my life kind of changed direction, and what I was hoping to do was just churn out loads of courses, churn out loads of books that went with the courses, churn out just loads and loads of products and content, and just build this massive empire. And I didn't. I've done the whole chemo thing, pregnancy thing, babies thing, and yeah, my life just didn't go in that direction. And I really wish it did, and I can't wait to get better so that I can do this, and I want to do this. Yeah, that's my journey so far.
So you didn't build the empire yet, right?
No, not yet.
Not like you didn't do it yet.
Yeah.
So I just want to go back to something. So a lot of people become, like, I like to say, online educators instead of course creators. A lot of people become online educators because maybe they don't like their full-time job and they want to do something more meaningful, something like that. Is that similar with you? Why did you not like being an air traffic controller?
So we all have our own motivations. It's okay if money is a motivation, I think. And money was certainly a motivation for me. I also definitely wanted to work really, really, really hard for a short period of time and then get a payoff for a long period of time. So the whole, so the whole that model of business is good for me, that I can work really hard and then it can be lazy. So something that I genuinely believe about myself is that deep down I'm a lazy person. Now I work really hard to overcome that about myself, but anything that can shorten my time, anything that I can work hard on now, which will make my life easier later, I'm all for. So creating courses was, a lot of it was about that. Mm-hmm. But then also a big motivation was that I enjoy teaching. I enjoy coaching other people to do things, although I don't do the whole coaching thing. I definitely like the thought that people out there learn from me and admire me and hold me in esteem. That definitely is a motivator. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so just to clarify, did you get the cancer before you started the courses or after, right?
After, yeah. So I think I finished my last couple of courses, which I think are my best courses. I finished after I had my stage 1 cancer, and my particular cancer, stage 1 is whatever. I had some creams to put on my skin, and you could. And the idea was that I would have that for life and die of something else. Unfortunately, I'm one of the lucky few that progresses. But at that stage, I was, I was still building. My life was still going in the direction I wanted it to. Yeah.
Okay. No, wow. Well, that's a very unique way of I so you're saying that stage 1 cancer isn't too bad? I would never see it that way.
Oh gosh, right. So just to clarify, all cancers are different. All cancers are completely different. So stage 1 cancer of lung cancer is something very different from stage 1 cancer of the cancer I have, which is a super rare type of cancer called cutaneous T-cell lymphoma. It means that I have to go to London for all my treatments, which involves lots of traveling. My local hospital just can't do it. My cancer usually happens in old people, so the fact that I was very young, they didn't know what was going on. It usually happens in men, so I was a young woman who happened to be pregnant. So, you know, yeah, all cancers are different, and my particular cancer, stage 1 and 2, is actually very benign, and stage 3 and 4 is actually terrible. So yeah, stage 1, it was fine. And actually, I do a lot of YouTube videos and things about you know, concentrate on cancer. I do a big mix of things, but I end up speaking to a lot of people with the same type of cancer as me, because they've discovered me. And I spend lots of time reassuring people that, you know, you're only stage 1 and 2. Don't worry, you've got your entire life ahead of you, literally. So yeah, no, at no point should you ever think that stage 1 means nothing, because every cancer is different, and stage 1 of a different type of cancer could be very different. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
going off a big tangent there. So yeah.
No, that wasn't a tangent. No, I really appreciate the optimism. And so, you know, I want the main crux of this video to be, so essentially, you know, you got the cancer, but you kept going, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So for people,
I'd still like to. In the mornings, I kind of wake up and I kind of think, is there anything I can do today to work on the business, or to have something in place that could make money in the future? And that's not just if I'm sick in hospital in the future, it's if I'm gone in the future, because I have things set up that if I do die, which I'll explain in a second, but if I do die, that will mean that money is still coming into my business account or my personal account for my family. So just to explain very briefly, with me, if I have what's called a stem cell transplant, it used to be called like a bone marrow transplant, I could have every chance of continuing on as normal. If I don't have that transplant, I'd be there maybe a couple of years. So yeah, I'm still kind of powering on the train to get that stem cell transplant, and I'm really, really hoping that I qualify and get there. And I have a donor all ready to go, a perfect match. I just need to be healthy enough to survive it. So that's where I am at this moment in time. So snapshot.
Yeah. So no, I mean, I commend you completely, like, for this. I think it's like extreme. Like, I'm completely motivated now. You know what I mean? Like, it's really wonderful that first, you're being selfless. You're so considerate of your family. You're doing this for your family. And two is that you know, I can be ridiculous sometimes. So admittedly, it's like a new media company I'm starting, and then I'm just like, oh man, like I don't even want to like disrespect you with the things that concern me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even want to bring up and like just disrespect your
so something I like very firmly believe in is that whatever problems and worries that you have in your life at any time, they take up your entire brain power. Whether that's something really, really silly to other people, like your cat's got a cough, to the other extreme of, oh, stage 4 cancer. You know, I genuinely believe that it takes up all your brain power. So you're worrying about your cat having a cough and me worrying about my cancer. It's the same amount of worry, and it takes up the same amount of your energy, and it stresses you out just as much. And I've definitely been more stressed in the past with silly inconsequential worries than I have with my, you know, big problems now. So I 100% believe that like my problems aren't necessarily any worse than other people's problems. Like I genuinely firmly believe that. And if somebody is if a friend is really stressed in life, they're always like, oh, I can't tell you about my problems because you've got all this. And I'm like, no, no, no. Genuinely, your problems to you are just as important as my problems to me. And I feel that about, I feel very strongly about mental health and all that stuff. It's very important to me, and it always has been. I mean, air traffic control is a very stressful job in the first place. So I feel really strongly about this. I like your problems or your worries or your issues. They're just as important as anything going on in my life, because they take up just as much as your brain power.
Okay. So, just to wrap things up, so, people would ideally be watching this because, maybe they work 70 hours a week to support their family. Um, they come home at 9 o'clock. They have to do this and that, and they're busy. Their schedule is extremely busy, but they want to be, similar to you. They want to be that online entrepreneur. They want to have that freedom.
Yeah.
So just to wrap things up, like, what would you say to them directly?
Like, oh my God, so I used to commute an hour and a half to an airfield outside of London. I used to work super hard, and then I used to commute an hour and a half back, and then and at the time I was trying to get pregnant, and it wasn't working, and it was because I was so stressed, and it just wasn't working. And at the same time I was working on my business, doing the side hustle thing, because I knew that with my husband and I both being in the RAF, we weren't going to be able to do the childcare thing, working night shifts. I knew that I wanted to leave. I knew I wanted to work and do exactly this, have an online business, be able to work from home, do websites and graphic design and all that stuff, because it's something I could do with children. And I was working when I got home, so exactly what you just described is like the long commute, the long hours. I want to work for myself from home. And, you have to, you just have to hustle otherwise, and you have to do it. And I do think it's worth doing the side hustle before you leave your job, and get to the point where you can at least get enough income to survive, because otherwise that's just going to stress you out, and you're going to end up laying in bed all day because you're so stressed rather than actually being productive. I do think it's worth doing the side hustle. But it's so worth it. It's so worth just starting. And Udemy, like what what we're talking about, that is the way I would go. I would find what you're good at, plan your course, get your piece of paper and plan your course really, really well, and just start and just churn it out with whatever equipment you've got. Just churn it out, get it up there, and get going. I'm not a marketing expert in any fashion whatsoever. I've done like next to nothing with marketing. All my sales have been Udemy organic, and and because of that, I only get a portion of the costs. But it's been so worth it. And if I had my chance again, if I didn't have this cancer, I'd be churning out courses left, right, and center. And I've got notebooks full of notes of courses ready to go, and I just want to get there. And if you guys are like sitting there healthy, then you need to do it, because it's so worth it. It's so worth it. You need to do it, and you'll thank yourself.
No, that's awesome. So, it can be better, it can be worse, but at the end of the day, like the old cliche advice works, just start desperately. Would you say?
Yeah, and 80% is good enough. Done is better than perfect. Like, yeah, churn it out. Get it out. Like, yeah, you can improve it. You can improve it later. You can. Your first course is always going to be rubbish. I think like your second course is always going to be embarrassing, and then you get better and you start being like, yeah, these courses are good, and that's where I am. That's my third and fourth courses. I'm really proud of. I get great ratings. I get great reviews. And I check today. I have like the best in my level, my subject. I'm really proud of that. But your first course is always going to be rubbish. So make it a subject that you're not actually, a side subject that you're good at but not amazing at, so that then you can get your practice in for your better courses later. Don't just do 1 or 2 courses. Keep going. Keep going.
I feel like, out of anybody, you'd probably be like the authority to tell people no excuses, start desperately.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I like, if you have the thought in your head, maybe I should make a course, you should do it. If you don't have that thought, then I'm not going to go and convince strangers to start doing Udemy courses. But if you have that kind of, I think I could do this, you should do it. It's like I used to be a skydiver, you know, a decade ago, and it's like one of those things. If you vaguely think, oh, maybe one day I'll do a skydive, you've got to do it because it's great, and you'll love it. If you're the sort of person that's like, I will never do a skydive, then don't do a skydive. But if you're the sort of person that's like, yeah, maybe one day, just do it. You know, so if you've got that nugget in your head of like, oh, maybe I should do the Udemy course thing. I'm good at this, I can teach this, or I can learn this really well and then teach it, which is valid. Especially if you're the sort of person who can distill information and then regurgitate it in a measured and precise way. You know, if you've got those teaching skills, yeah, you need to do it. Yeah, I cannot stress it enough. I've got a friend who I was cajoling today, in fact, because she says, oh, I should make a course. And I was like, right, send me a picture. I want your mind map. I want you to write my course in the middle of an A4 piece of paper. And then I made her send me a picture of it. And then an hour later, I was like, right, now I want another picture. I want to see the words around it on your mind map. And she sent it. And she started. She literally started today her journey making a course.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah. So
oh, sorry. So at this point, anybody who's watching this has probably like fallen in love with you at this point. Well, you know what I mean. Is there anything you'd like to tell our audience? Maybe you want to talk about your like really inspirational YouTube channel, something like that.
Well, yeah, so I flit about the internet nowadays because I'm trying to just look after my own mental health rather than do the business thing. So I do all sorts of things. I'm actually on a little bit of a tangent, and I'm doing art as therapy, and then because of that, I'm doing YouTube videos about my art, and I'm selling my art on stuff. So that's like a complete tangent that I've gone on. I'm like doing the art, but then I can't stop the entrepreneurial part of me, like sticking it on products and being like, oh, go buy that stuff. But you can find out all about me on my personal website, which is KimberlyAnn.co.uk. And I'm sure you'll be lovely enough to link it in the description. And all my links are on that. So like my Twitch, I do some live streaming now. My YouTube, where I do all sorts of videos. Not just about art, but my cancer. So if you want to know all the gory details, literally everything, I'm very open about it. Yeah, my YouTube channel's there. I'm very active on Instagram and yeah, and I've got all my shops like my Etsy and my Redbubble. I've got a Patreon set up and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, all my links. The top of my website is just links where you can find me, and then my blog. So yeah, go and have a look at my website if you wanna see more about me. And of course, I have my Udemy courses that I especially my last few, which are about Blender 3D software. I've specifically done it for packaging designers, and SketchUp specifically for interior designers. So those are my last two courses, the ones I'm most proud of. And they have workbooks that go along with them. The SketchUp book is available on Amazon. That's another thing. If you do a course, do a workbook along with it, and then publish the book, self-publish through Amazon CreateSpace.
How do you create the workbook? Do you just like take what you say in the course and you just translate it to text, and you just sell the book?
Essentially, yeah. So because my courses are software, it's quite particular. You know, stage 1, do this. Step 2, 3, 4. Lots of pictures of like where you need to click and all this sort of stuff. So I just put it all in Word document, PDF, churn out the PDF, and then you upload that. Have a nice book cover. Yeah. It's so easy. It's free. And then it puts you out there, and then you're officially a published author as well. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Just do the work.
Great, Kimberly. So I'm gonna attach everything you talked about in the description. People who are listening to the audio version, please go to Amitly's YouTube page. It's put AMITLY on YouTube. You'll find us. I'll put everything in the description. Kimberly, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks so much, Max. It's been really nice. Thanks.
Bye-bye.